like this. There it is. I've never found a love like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV on this wet Thursday afternoon stroke evening. To my right is Clive, and we are going to go through basically the final 12 of games in the Premier League. We're going to score the games that we think we're going to get 3 points, the games we're going to get 1 point, and the games that we're going to get none. So, first off, Clive, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I am good. It's going to be a very, very busy month for West Ham United, especially in April. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of
9 games.
Yeah, 9 games in just 1 month, 1 calendar month. So it's going to be a very, very busy one, especially on this channel, and it's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Yeah, big up Richard B also in the chat. Right, let's get into it. Let's start off at the top and work our way down.
Yeah.
Obviously, this game is coming up first. Southampton, 2nd of April. West Ham are going to have 2 weeks off. How do you assess that game, in your opinion, how you think it might go?
I'm nervous about Southampton, I'm not going to lie. And I think home advantage is good for us. But, I know we have faced Southampton, I think, at home last season. We ended up losing. If it wasn't last season, it might have been the season before. My memory's somewhat distorted. But I know James Ward-Prowse loves a good goal against West Ham. And we're a team that does give away some sloppy free kicks, I must say. So I genuinely think our home record is a lot better than our away record this season. So part of me is really hoping that we'll win 2-1 is what I'm hoping for here. But I think the 2-week break should help. If we don't see changes in this, in terms of mentality, the way we're playing, then it's going to be a very, very long month, let alone a season remaining.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I've got to get to this comment. Hello, Elite. How are you doing, my friend? West Ham Online owns you. He don't own me, bruv. He owns a bit of this channel, but he don't own me. But Elite, I hope you're well, man. Hope you're well. Carry on, Clive. What are you saying about Southampton? Give me your final sort of prediction.
Yeah, I think it will finish 2-1. I think it's going to be a closer game than we anticipate because there's a lot of stake on the line, especially for Southampton at this point. If Southampton lose this game, there is now a bit of a substantial gap between 20th and the exiting of the relegation zone. So that will obviously be a concern, especially at that point. Southampton, I think, have only got 11 games remaining. So obviously, if they lose this game, they've only got 10 left. And this is where the nitty-gritty of the season hits. I think there is a lot on the line. And I think that way, I think they're going to be pressing us a little bit and challenging us. And I think when you've got a situation where teams are fighting the way they're having to fight at this point, it does get a little bit messy, and that's where my concerns lay in. But I do believe we'll win this 2-1 based on our sort of home record, I would say.
This one's a tough one for me because we will know where West Ham are landing in that game. West Ham turn up and win that game. I fancy us to sort of have a really good week in that week. West Ham lose the game, I think it's curtains, basically. I'm going to go for a win. I'm going to say it's going to be a scrappy game, probably a 1-0 win, probably. West Ham need to turn up against Southampton. There's no excuses now. They've got 2 weeks off. They're all fit. They're all ready. There is no excuses whatsoever. Obviously, it'll be down to Moyes to pick the right team, etc. moving forward. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say a win on that one. Right, let's move on to the midweek game, which is this one, Newcastle. What are you saying for Newcastle on the Wednesday? Tough.
Do you know what? We're in a bit of a sticky situation because between the 2nd and the 8th, which is only 6 days, we have 3 games.
Yeah.
Now, I know you don't want to respect draws.
Yeah.
But
I will take a draw in this game, Clive.
Yeah, I will take a draw. And not only would I take a draw, I think even Newcastle, they've struggled a little bit with that scoring form. but Isak seems to have all of a sudden found his footing a little bit here. And I think, I'm not even worried about Isak. Do you know what I'm worried about? I'm worried about facing, like, last time we faced Newcastle, they didn't have their full squad because some of them had suspensions and injuries. Like, they didn't play Bruno Guimaraes. So I think it's going to be a very challenging game. Do you know what? I'll be delighted if we get a 1-1 draw. But I have a weird feeling that it could be one of those where we just lose it 1-0, like Callum Wilson scoring against us because he loves a goal against West Ham. So the hopeful part of me is going to say a 1-1 draw, but I'm not very convinced.
So you're going with a draw?
I am, yeah. I'm being really hopeful here.
I think this is a nailed-on draw for me. I don't see West Ham beating this team, but then if we're at home, we shouldn't be losing the game. So
that's the problem.
If we beat Southampton and we get a point against Newcastle, that's good, in my opinion. I can accept that quite openly. Yeah. If we lose against Southampton, this game becomes massive. We have to win this game. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to agree with you on this. I think it's a nailed-on draw for me. Yeah. Nailed on. I'll be quite shocked if West Ham win this game, considering if they've just beaten Southampton. Obviously, if it's the other way round, we do not want to draw with Southampton and beat Newcastle. You need to beat Southampton to get away from them, take points off them. So I agree with you straight away, draw on that game. Let's go to the following week's game. It's this, Fulham. No Mitrovic. No Silva.
No Mitrovic, but I would say, do you know what? Like, if we look at the earlier fixtures so far this season, right? When we had Southampton away, we drew 1-1, right? Then Newcastle, we've drawn with them already this season, albeit they had 2 disallowed goals in very, very quick succession, right? So we're both basing that off of draws. Now, Fulham, for instance, right? We've faced them 3 times this season when this game happens. Once in the Premier League, where we won 3-1 at home.
Yeah.
And then we drew during the preseason, during like the end of the World Cup.
That's it. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was 1-1. Yes, it was 1-1, but it was also at Craven Cottage. I do think Craven Cottage is a bit of a hostile sort of environment because it's such a small stadium that the Fulham fans are very aware. Like, it's very tentative there. It's a bit of a harder playing field. And Craven Cottage, do you know what? Not only that, our away form has been abysmal this season. 6 points, I think, this season. It's just not great. Again, on the specifications here that we've had 3 games in 6 days as well, I will take another draw. I will take a 1-1. Fulham have had a great season this season. There's no dissing what Fulham have achieved this season. They're in the top half of the table. They're banging it. Yeah. Mitrovic, all right, he's not in the game. But I think there's other aspects of Fulham that are quite concerning. I mean, in the home game, Pereira was all over us, if I remember correctly, and he even scored against us.
I remember that game clear as day because they scored first.
Yeah.
Then what's his name? Dan James hit the crossbar.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they make chances. They're good.
Yeah,
they're a good team. They're quick. They know what they're doing. You know what? Under Marco Silva, incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
I must admit, their Portuguese central midfielder, who'd have nabbed. He's a good player. Trust me. I won't mind doing that. West Ham. For me, this game is a must. I think this game is winnable all day long. I look at their team, take Mitrovic out of their team, they haven't really got a lot else in attack, for me personally. No Silva, he'll be like banned.
You say that, but Mitrovic has been out for a little bit with injury as well, hasn't he, this season? And Fulham has still managed to get results. I don't know.
Yes, but who would you rather face? Someone else up front or have Mitrovic bullying our defenders? Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, you know what? I think this is why we get away with a draw, because it's at Craven Cottage. We're away from home. If there was a Mitrovic, we're probably screwed. And I would actually probably say we're going to lose that game. But I think because there is no Mitrovic, I genuinely think, I can see Fulham getting a goal against us. But I can also see us scoring. Without
Will I am's coming or making a comeback. You know what I mean? Well, what are you saying? You said a draw.
I'm saying a 1-1 draw. I'm going for another
Right.
one. Yeah.
Right. I think West Ham West Ham can win this game. 100%. I look at their attack. I think if we can get out of that week, let's put it this way: if we can win 2 games out of the 3 in a week, that's pretty decent. Really,
Yeah.
depends on who they're against. If we beat Fulham and Southampton, and say we lose against Newcastle, then 6 points ain't bad, in the space of a week, considering we need to win some games.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
I don't think a draw is good enough against Fulham. I think Fulham are there. Do you know what I mean, for the taking? I watched them the other day against United. They were good. Don't get me wrong, but I think West Ham, if they're on it, they can score goals. Do you know what I mean? I agree with what Christian's saying, 100%. And defending, he swings passes. Totally agree with Christian. And by the way, I want to get people like Christian on the channel in the near future. So do bear that in mind. So I am actually going to say 2-1 West Ham on this one. West Ham got a good record at Fulham, decent side. Every time we've gone there, we've always done pretty well. So yeah, I'm going to say 2-1. Now we move on to the next game, which is this one, and it's Arsenal on the 16th of April, and that weekend is Grand National weekend. It's going to be great, trust me. So if you like a punt, Grand National weekend and Arsenal. What are you expecting against Arsenal in this game?
We will have. So in the list that I've written down, where all our fixtures are here. Obviously, in between the Arsenal fixture and after Fulham, we've got Ghent away.
Yep.
And then Arsenal, then Ghent at home. So it's going to be a loss. I can accept the loss, but I want a fighting performance. Look, I've seen how other teams have gone against Arsenal, and what I'm naming here is obviously Everton and Bournemouth in recent weeks. And I truly believe that we could get a goal, but I'm going to say that they're going to sweep us clean with a little clean sheet. And I'm going to say it's a 2-0 loss.
Me.
But bless you. But I don't see that as a bad value. I think as long as we give a fighting performance, ensure that we don't have any injuries and get away unscathed, there's no harm losing to a team that, they've surpassed expectations. They're top of the league. Fair play to them. And, you've got to respect what they've done, but we also have to make sure that we do not end up in a situation where our goal difference all of a sudden skyrockets downwards. And when I look at that, I'm looking at that Manchester City game, because I swear to God, if we lose 5-0, I'm certain I've already gone.
I've already got that pinpointed. Right, I'm going to say this about the Arsenal game. I just want West Ham to be free and have a go. That's all I want. Right. I think this is a free hit. I think they're flying, and if we can come out of the first 3 with 7 points, 6 points, I'll be happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I don't want to see happen against Arsenal, and I do make this quite clear, don't get hammered by them, because the following game is Bournemouth, which we're going to talk about away, which is massive, right? So I just want to see a bit of fight in this team against this team. They always beat us at home. Like it's always the same way, and they always get a little rub at the right time, or something goes their way, and they always nab a win. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say a loss here. I'm going to say 2-0. I think maybe. Yeah. I just don't think we're going to have enough in the tank, especially if the Ghent game doesn't go our way. If the Ghent game goes our way, then we might have half a chance. If we can do the job in Belgium on the Thursday, on the Sunday, it's a free hit. Do you know what I mean? But
I know what you mean.
It all depends what happens on the Thursday. Right. We will come down to it. Obviously, we'll play Ghent on the Thursday. And then on the Sunday, Bournemouth away. This one is tricky. They've been doing all right, mate. I know they go and beat Liverpool, and then they lose against Villa. I get hammered against Villa. For me, West Ham have to win this game. It's a must-win game. Like there is no excuses on this one. Like
we won't.
if we don't beat Bournemouth away, then we've got problems. We've got serious problems. Like we have to beat this team. I'll go first. I make mine pretty short and sweet. I expect West Ham, with the team we've got and the personnel, everything about us, we should go to Bournemouth and do a job there. Right? I will take a 1-0 win right now, but West Ham need to win this game. A draw's not good enough, and a defeat's unacceptable in my opinion. When we played them in the reverse fixture at home, we did get a lot of rubber to green in that game. Zuma scored from an handball, and we got a penalty in the last minute. So, for me, I am going to say, I think there'll be goals in this game. I think we concede. I'm going to say 3-1 West Ham. I think West Ham might turn up in this one. I think they might have to. So, what are you saying on this one, Clive?
I am going to heavily disagree with you here. I think West Ham will turn up. I think West Ham will turn up. Hold on. Hear me out on this. So, obviously, Bournemouth's home performance in recent weeks, kind of scary. However, like I've pointed out with the Southampton game, when you're in this battle, and especially with Bournemouth, and we saw this last time when they were looking like they were going to get relegated, they have nothing to lose. They've overachieved coming into the Premier League the first time round, last in the 6 seasons they did. They've come almost straight back up. And do you know what? For a team that has not spent a lot of money, ultimately, like in the grand scheme of things, they're within the radius here, which is quite impressive. But their home performance, the home support for them, they've got nothing to lose. And I think the players know that. And I think there isn't any pressure on the manager as well, which I think is quite a unique circumstance when you're in that battle. Obviously for them, the pressure is if you go to the Championship and then you mess up basically early into the season, because I think the expectation for Bournemouth owners will be, if we go down, we're coming straight back up, end of. But, there's no pressure on the manager. You don't really hear too much about Gary O'Neill, to be honest. Like, he's very... Yeah, he's got a free.
He's got a free hit though, hasn't he? That's the thing.
Yeah, like I think whenever we face Bournemouth, it's always bloody high scoring as well, and they love a good counter attack. And it's just, I don't know, that team scares me in a weird way. It's like they're not great, but they do bits, and it's the doing bits part that freaks me out. So I'm going to be realistic.
They always turn up against when they have to. That's the problem. Every single time. Like the other week, I watched them against Villa. They were shocking. Then I watched them against Liverpool, and they were good. Do you know what I mean? They was all right. I know Liverpool missed the penalty and everything, but they still defended for their lives. And the fear in this game, for me personally, if West Ham concede first. If West Ham score first, then Bournemouth will have to come forward. And when West Ham can hit them on the break. Obviously, this also affects the conference game on the Thursday, because if we've won the conference game on the Thursday, on the Friday we're going to be buzzing to see if we get the next round. Or obviously we're going to know we're going to get in the next round, and then this game's going to be massive also. So it's like big game after big game, which might suit West Ham to a point. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. I mean, I've gone with a 2-2 draw. I'm going to be doing the opposite to you, I think, here a little bit. I'm gonna, because our performances, or in terms of how many goals we've scored, in terms of being able to keep a clean sheet and whatnot, which we always seem to concede. But do you know what? We've underachieved this season, especially in the league. And I'm just going to sort of keep it there. And if they overachieve in this final third of the season, then I'll be content. I'll be happy. But I think I'm just trying to set the standard of, we're in this position for a reason. We're not all of a sudden going to magic our way out of it unless something has happened. But I'm going to go with the 2-2 draw. So ultimately, we've got 12 games left. The one after this one is going to be Liverpool. I'm telling you already, that's going to be a loss. So for me, that's six points in 6 games. It's only 1 point per game. It's not great.
That's not good, is it? Let's move on to Liverpool. Start. I'll go first on this one. This one, to me, it's a tricky game. Like last season, we played brilliant. Like last time we played them at home last season, we were excellent. It's one of the best performances I've seen from Pablo Fornals. It was absolute top class game, and we won it 3-2. I think it was. Yeah, amazing. I don't know what to expect out of this game. West Ham don't usually beat Liverpool at home. That's one thing I will say. West Ham always sort of bit like flat against Liverpool. For me, I would take a point in this game. Right, if someone said to me right now, you get a point off Liverpool, I'll take it. But I actually genuinely believe we might lose this game. I just think Liverpool will be chasing down that sort of top four, so they will have incentive in this game. And I don't think they will be as bad as they have been. So I think we might lose this game. I really do. So I'm going to put it down as a loss, sort of like a 2-1 loss, something like that. I think Liverpool.
That's exactly what I've got.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I've got. A 2-1 loss.
Yeah, I just don't. I just don't see it, Clive. I would love to sit here and say we could beat Liverpool, but again, they're a bit like Arsenal. They always get the right rub at the right time. It's just
the attacking three that the attacking three for me is what does it. I think we'll get a goal against them because Liverpool have been shaky this season. But I think when it comes to the nitty gritty end of the season, we've probably faced Liverpool at the wrong time. If we were going to get a point out of them, we needed to face them about 5 or 6 fixtures ago, I think. But yeah, it's not going to happen. I've got that as a loss.
I agree, mate. Let's move on to the next one, which is a big game. Roy against Moyes. What are you saying for this one?
Well, firstly, I'd like to congratulate and thank Steve Parish for sacking Patrick Vieira and making the biggest error in Premier League history, I reckon.
I reckon so. No.
Because 2 days ago, I had this as a draw. I now have this as a win.
Yeah.
So, again, I would like to thank Steve Parish for that, because I think looking at their upcoming fixtures, Palace have got, I think, 5 teams coming up out of their next 7 or 8 games.
Which are around us. Yeah,
which are all from 13th place downwards. Obviously, Palace occupy 12th if I'm not incorrect here. After facing the teams they faced, I don't understand what's happening here. But I think based on how Roy Hodgson sort of does things, I think we've got a good chance. I think, I think this is going to be a close fought game. Zaha loves a goal against West Ham. I do worry about the little wing attacks and Eze and players like that. But I think we can get the rub of the green. Obviously, Palace got the rub of the green at the earlier half of the season at home for us. They won 2-1 with that last-minute goal. But I think we're going to get the rub of the green, and I think it will be a 2-1 win. And our first away win in fuck knows how long. Listen, that's one thing I will say. We do like to play Palace. At Palace. Yeah. Like, they always seem to do well at our place, and we always seem to do well at theirs. For me, to the reverse.
For me, this game, I think will decide where we're at. I think the time we get to Palace on the 29th of April, if we're not sort of 4 or 5 points clear of the relegation zone, I'll be worried. I would be. Do you know what I mean? I think Palace are deep in the shit now. If you want me to be honest, like, I look at their team, they've brought Roy back because they haven't really thought about this. Do you know what I'm saying? And if they would have had Vieira in charge for the rest of the season, I think they would have been fine. I think now they've brought Roy Hodgson back, I am literally thinking they could go down. I'm actually going to say a draw in this game. I am. Ooh. I think this is going to be a cagey game. I really do. I think if it goes the way I think it's going to go, I think it'll be 2 teams which will be trying to cancel each other out, and I just think it'll filter out into a draw, in my opinion. West Ham do play well at Palace, though, I will say that. And Palace will come forward, which might suit West Ham down to the ground, especially away from home. So I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I'm going to say 1-1 in this game. And then it leads up to this. Now, the Manchester City game is a game that I think will be played on the last Thursday before the end of the season. And I'll tell you the reason why I think this. FA Cup, I think they're going to get to the final of the FA Cup. I think they're going to beat Sheffield United and get to the final. Yeah. I think in the Champions League, the further they get in the Champions League and the further we get in the Conference League, the only way I can see this being played is on the Thursday before we play the last game of the season at Leicester.
I think it actually depends if we get to the semi-final of the Conference League, because in May we only have 4 fixtures, and that's between the 6th of May and the 28th of May.
Yeah, but then obviously there's going to be a Wednesday in there, and if If they keep, don't forget they've got FA Cup in there to deal with. They've got
and the Champions League as well.
Champions League to deal with.
But
so
I could see it being between the 6th and the 13th because I think. Oh wait, actually no. Hold on. When is the semi-final of the Conference League? Actually, isn't that like the 13th?
Yeah, it's in May, I think, because the final's in June. Yeah. So this game, I'm going to make this short and sweet on this. This game, I think, will be played on the Thursday for the last game of the season. If it is played on that Thursday, that I'm thinking it will be played, hopefully this game will be it'll be rounded up. Like the league will be finished. If City are still in the race for the league, then this is tough, right? Whenever we play them, it's going to be tough. If it's played on the Thursday and the league's finished and they've got to concentrate on Champions League and FA Cup, especially if they play Man United in the FA Cup, they might rest a few players, right? I don't think we're going to get anything at Man City, so I'm just going to make that quite clear. But I think if we can keep the goal tally down in this game, then for me, I think this is the perfect game for it. Do you know what I mean? We just got to defend, and if we can get a point out of this game, I'll be over the moon. So I'll move on from that one. That one will be rearranged at a later date. Right.
Just quickly on that Man City one, I genuinely think we're going to get thumped 4-0.
I hope not, but I agree. We'll move on to this game. Manchester United at home, the 6th of May. Clive, what are you saying for this? Yet again,
Cool.
same thing.
So I have just looked at when the semi-final is for the Conference League.
Yeah.
So we've got Manchester United on the 6th of May.
Yeah.
On the 11th of May, we would be potentially in the Europa Conference semi-final.
Right.
On the 13th of May, which is 2 days later, by the way, so that will probably get moved to the 14th.
Right.
We would then have Brentford away, followed by the 18th of May, where we would then have the second leg of the semi-final of the Europa Conference League. Followed by the 20th of May, which will then probably get changed to the 21st of May, we have Leeds United. So basically, if we get to the semi-final and we are not out of a pickle, we're fucked.
Yeah.
That's where I'm
That's
going.
worrying. That is worrying with that. So what you're saying? What you're saying for United?
I'm going to be realistic. Marcus Rashford's on fire. We will not be able to cope or contain Manchester United, in my opinion. We might get a goal if we're lucky. I've got a 2-0 loss written down, but we might get a goal. Yes, literally.
What am I saying for this?
I'm going with a loss. I'm sorry, but we always seem to lose to Manchester United, and it's always like 2-1 or 2-0.
Yeah.
It's just not a fan. We're going to lose. Sorry, I'm being negative.
Right. What am I going to say on this? Right. I think obviously don't forget they're still in the Europa League. Yeah. So also they're going to an FA Cup, right? If they can get third sewn up by the time we get to the 6th of May, then you just never know with Man United. You just never know. It's a game West Ham hate to lose. That's one thing. Like one thing, any sort of old school West Ham fan tell you, Man United's always the game. Right? We always seem to turn up. I do agree though. I think it's going to be tough, right? Especially if we're fighting to stay in the league, then this might be a good game for West Ham because West Ham will be up for this. Manchester United at the LS. I think it's big. I really do. I don't want to say I lost, but I believe it could be. Do you know what I mean? I think they're going to do them balls over the top, and this also depends on Moyes and all. Like this is on Moyes on this game because, as someone just said in the chat, he just don't perform. They just don't perform against the big hitters. Like last season, we lost 2-1 to a Lingard winner, and then I think the season before
it's always
that,
at the end of the game. It's always at
Yeah.
the end of the game. I mean, I think even earlier this season, it was a last-minute goal, wasn't it? That
Yeah.
sort of.
I agree.
Took
I agree
us
with
out.
John on that. And so I'm going to say I lost on this game. 2-1. 2-1
Right,
loss.
it was an early goal from Rashford, 1-0 when we lost on the 30th of October. There you go.
Yeah. So that's that. Obviously, then we play Brentford away. Now,
Problem. That is a problem because of the semi-final first leg.
right. The problem with this one is we don't play well against Brentford ever. they have started to become our new Brighton. We beat them in the FA Cup, but they had a reserve team out, and we just about beat them 1-0. Yeah. The only thing I will say with this game is they will be on the beach. That's one thing I will say. Like, the season will be winding down, and I think if West Ham are more aggressive in this game, West Ham can get something out of this game. I watched the game.
Potential. There is. Sorry to interrupt. There is potential that Ivan Toney will be serving his ban for betting at this point, which is a plus side. That is the one thing I will say. Yeah.
See, that would help, right? Because I think if you take Ivan Toney out of this team, I don't think they're as good as they are with him in it. Last season, we played in a game in the Europa League against, I think it was Lyon, and we played Brentford on the Sunday, and we got absolutely smashed to bits. Like, we lost the game 2-0. It could have been 7-0. We was terrible. So I think a draw in this game will be the best we're going to get. I really do. Can I see us beating Brentford? If Ivan Toney's not there, we beat Brentford, I think. Or we will get something positive out of the game.
Maybe a draw if Ivan Toney's not there, but I don't think we win.
Yeah, I'm going to say a draw in this game. I'll go with a draw. 1-1. What are you saying for a draw?
I'm going to go in with the expectation that Ivan Toney is still going to be there, because obviously there were rumours where he's going to get a 6-month ban. Obviously, he's come out and said things, and it's got a bit iffy, because if it has been leaked by the FA, he might be able to counter-claim on certain things. So, I think there's a lot into this, and obviously it's only about 6 weeks until the 13th of May. So whether they, go through these betting charges and seek a resolution before the end of the season, I think that's Brentford's best case scenario, because obviously they would like for him to go this season and then serve the ban over the summer, and then return maybe like October time, if there is going to be still a ban. This is because obviously Brentford have consolidated their Premier League status as number one for a start. I'm going to say we potentially lose 2-0, but if the Ivan Toney situation transpires, we could get a 1-1. But I think it'll be a 2-0. Ivan Toney loves scoring against us. There's a lot of players that love scoring against us, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Also, I do think whatever happens on the first leg of the conference, if we're in it, like I'm not sure who it's going to be. Is it Anderlecht?
It could either be Anderlecht or it could be oh god,
I know. It slipped my mind. I know. I must admit. I think you have a look and then thingy. I'm going to
AZ Alkmaar.
AZ Alkmaar, that's the one. I'm going to make an early prediction here. Both Clive results have us going down, don't they? Nah. So it all depends on what happens on that Thursday. If we play Alkmaar or we play, so say for instance, we play Anderlecht and we get a good result and people are buzzing, then this could filter into this game. Yeah. If we lose
I think the first leg is severely important, not because we've got Brentford in between, but it's because the second leg is literally, obviously, I know it says with Leeds, we're going to face them on 20th, but it'll most likely be the 21st because of the Europa Conference at this point. So, I'm more worried about that Leeds game, and it's like, cool, even if we win that second leg, which I believe the second leg, actually, we're going to be away from home for the conference final. So there's going to be the travel, there's going to be a few bits and pieces. And I think this is where it gets a bit complex with the whole Leeds United game. And I certainly do not want us celebrating if we're getting into the Europa Conference final. And by us, I mean the players. Because if we have not consolidated Premier League status at this point, I couldn't give a shit about no final. And it's simple as that. And I know that sounds really bad. European final, first one in 43 years, this, that, and the other. But, oh, God, if we have not consolidated Premier League status and it turns out these players have gone on a freaking just an absolute terror. And then you hear that freaking Carl Walker situation where he's exposed himself. You hear West Ham players been doing that, and Kurt Zuma's been kicking another cat or something. Then, oh Jesus Christ! Like it's got potential to go wrong, hasn't it? That's my issue here.
Right, just leave them out the pubs. That's what I'll say. Right, let's move on.
Exactly, put them on a ban.
Right, let's move on to this game, Leeds. What a last game of the season this is going to be. I think for me personally, this is the game where if any team that you didn't want to face really fighting for their lives is Leeds, because they're going to be like us. They're going to be fighting literally everything. You know what I mean? I'm hoping by the time we get to this game that it's irrelevant whatever happens in this game. I think West Ham beat Leeds. I will. I will say it in my chest. I think West Ham will beat Leeds. I think last season they played a good game plan against West Ham. I think this season, I think West Ham will do them at their place. Well, at our place, sorry. When we played them in January, I think it was, we played all right. We was 2-1 up, and then they scored that goal. And then I'll be honest, the last 5 minutes they was literally smashing us to bits.
They've changed manager since then, though.
They've changed manager, and I think this is a good game for West Ham. I really do. Right, it's going to be hard though, because as I say, Leeds love a fight and all. So I'm going to say I'll win, and I'm going to say 2-1 West Ham. I think West Ham will get this done. I think if everyone's fit, everyone's ready to go, West Ham beat Leeds all day.
I am going to provide you with some sad news and say a 2-2 draw. And my reasons behind this is Leeds won 4-2 against Wolverhampton Wanderers just this past week, and I wasn't worried about Leeds, and I genuinely had us winning against them until they won 4-2 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. And that is what worries me is it now that their manager is he's gelling his squad, making it him, making it a part of his team. Are they changing? Is there a certain way they're playing? I think the one thing that goes for us is it is a home game. And for all the flack that the home fans do get compared to, say, the away support, etc., I do think when it comes to the last game of the season, especially at home, the West Ham fans will turn up. Yeah, I really do believe that, especially if we're still fighting this battle, which, according to my results, we will be fighting this battle till the last game of the season. So I genuinely do believe, I think it will be a draw. Agree. I think both teams love
I agree with Ultra on that. Go on, man.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I can see it being a win. I really could. But whilst, I gave us a win against Southampton and, I've been a little bit dubious and maybe that nice little win against Palace here. But I just don't know. I just feel like this is a draw. I just think it's got a draw written all over it. And I don't know what it is, but both teams love to score. It's a bit like Bournemouth. I just think this is just going to be a high-scoring, messy game that's going to lead to situations where we're all idiots and, people are going to get carded left, right and centre. It's going to be one of them.
Yeah. If you was looking at this game from a betting aspect, I'd say, right, now get on the cards. 1,000%. Right? Because I can see cards and corners in this game will be ideal. So you're saying a draw then, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going a 2-2 draw on this, and then you're not going to be happy with my Leicester result either.
Finally, Leicester, 28th of May, Judgment Day, basically. What are you saying for this? Because for me,
we lost to them in November, just before the mid-season break. Madison scored.
But don't forget, they are in it and all. Like Leicester are. So if it comes down to the final game of the season, I wouldn't want to be going there needing to get something. That's the problem.
They're the sort of team. So when we faced them, it was just before the mid-season break for the World Cup, right? And at that point, Leicester had found form. They'd become good again. And since the winter break, they've come back. They've been a little bit shoddy. They've got themselves back into this situation. But I think the signings they made in January are still solid signings. I think. Yeah. I don't see us coping with their pace. I could see like Maddison just getting on top of us. Again, we give away sloppy possession at times and free kicks that we don't need to give away. And like Maddison could bury one. Maddison, like when I look at the team and, for all the people that go, oh, West Ham are too good to go down. I think Leicester are also too good to go down based on the players. You look at Maddison, you look at Barnes, you look at all of those situations. I think Brendan Rodgers can keep them out. Whether it's early enough into the season that we could then say escape with a draw, I don't know. Or whether it comes to the end of the season. But I can't see us coming away from the King Power with more than a draw. But
If
And I
Leicester,
see us being a draw.
if Leicester are safe, does that
Yeah.
benefit West Ham?
Yes. I think
Because
it
I,
does.
because I think if Leicester are safe, I think we go there and we can win, 100%. I just think
I think it depends. So I think, let's say in the last game of the season, we're hovering above the relegation zone. It's going to be a situation where it's down to us. What we do will define whether we stay up or not. Let's say that's the situation here. Leicester already safe. We're in 17th place. And if we don't win or draw, depending on what the teams below us do, then, it's all down to us. I think we can cope with certain pressures on that day. And I think Leicester wouldn't be as concerned with just finishing one position higher just for, $1 million to... You get like $1 million roughly for each position in the Premier League, if I'm not mistaken. So this game is really going to be dependent on what the situation is on that day. I don't think we're going to be safe at this point. I really don't. And I think to stay safe is actually going to be lower than we anticipate. I think if we're lucky, a 1-1 draw. But based on the performance we had at home and our poor away record, I'm going to say it's a 2-1 loss. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with a 2-1 loss. Even I'm like, oh God. Like when I'm looking at the results right in front of me here, I'm like, oh God, this it doesn't look great. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going with the 2-1 loss.
It's really not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
It ain't looking good, bruv. No. It really ain't.
Right. I'm going to say this, I agree with some of the stuff that you're coming out with. I will say that. First things first is this game, I don't want to be going here having to win the game. If it meant us going to the game and not losing the game, that's a different scenario, right?
Yeah. If
we have to go there and win the game, I think that's hard work. I really do. Right, depending whether we're in Europe or not. I am going to say a draw in this game, right? But I do think West Ham, when the going gets tough, they do seem to pull out a result out of somewhere. Do you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't surprise me. West Ham haven't they've only won one away game all season, and then the last 12 games they win 3 or 4. Do you know what I mean? It just wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah. So I am going to say a draw in this game. I don't think. It's an hard one. If West Ham are struggling and West Ham are literally have to win this game, I think they might turn up. But I actually think it's just going to be. I just think it's going to be a draw, mate. If I'm honest, I don't think we'll lose the game. But then I'll go with a draw, and you've gone with a loss.
I've gone with the loss. I see us only getting 10 points for the remainder of the 12 games. I see us finishing on exactly 34 points, which I actually think 34 points is going to be the exact number on 17th and 18th place, and I think it's going to go down to goal difference.
Oh, Clive! How many points am I on in there? Did you see?
You said a win against Southampton. You said draw against Newcastle. You said a win for Fulham, so that's 7. You said a loss to Bournemouth. You said a win to Bournemouth, didn't you?
Yeah, win to Bournemouth, lost to Arsenal.
Yep, so that's 10. Liverpool loss, Palace draw, that's 11 points. United, Brentford losses, or was Brentford a draw for you? Sorry. Oh, it was dependent on Tony, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah, I would say a loss on that because we just don't beat Brentford.
So it's still 11. Leeds, you said win, so that takes you to 14, and you're saying Leicester draw?
Yeah.
So you're saying 15 points, which is 5 more. You're saying we'll finish on 39. Obviously, City, we both said loss. So you're saying 39 points, which would keep us safe and probably finish us in probably, I would say, 14th or maybe, probably 14th. I don't see us finishing on 39 points. I think if we finished on 39 points, then Jesus Christ, I could see Moyes doing that and us maybe actually being able to concentrate on Europe. But I don't see us being able to concentrate on the semi-finals. I think looking at how heavy the April fixture list is, looking at the fact that it is 9 games, the fact that we've got the quarterfinals, the fact that we actually have one of the smallest Premier League teams across all of the Premier League here. Just looking at all of them, I'm just thinking, oh God, this doesn't look great. we've got 7 fixtures out of the 12 are at home. The problem with that, though, is that 3 of them, are the big 6. And our home performance has been better.
Yeah, but I don't look at it like that. I look at it like if we take 15 points off Southampton, Fulham, Palace, Leeds, and say Leicester, for instance, Leicester with a draw and maybe a few draws in there, I think we can get. I think 15 will be enough. I think 10. I think 10 is dangerous, mate. Like that week. I'll be honest with you. That week, that first week when we come back is massive. I can't stress enough how massive that is. That's why I keep saying it, and I say it over and over again, that the fan base have got to be on it that week. Whatever happens against Southampton, they've got to be on it for the Newcastle game, the Fulham game. Also, me saying about 15 points, Bournemouth away is a big game. I think if we beat the teams around us, we end up safe.
I think the one thing that goes well against us when we face Bournemouth, because I'm looking at everyone else's fixtures as well, is that Bournemouth have got 3 very key games in April that I'd like to point out here. So they've got Bournemouth versus West Ham on the 23rd of April, followed by Southampton versus Bournemouth away at St Mary's on the 27th of April. They then go and they're at home, which means their travelling time in these 7 days, because the next fixture is the 30th, they are hardly travelling. They're within the South Coast area. They've got West Ham home. They've got Southampton away. Then they've got Leeds at home. Those 3 games are so defining for Bournemouth alone. Imagine they ended up getting 7 out of those 9 points. They're all of a sudden they're on 31. Yeah, like that's how close this whole area is. And, you just don't know which Southampton's going to turn up. Forest, I actually think, weirdly enough, might stay up. I think Leicester will stay up. I think Everton will stay up. It's so difficult. I actually think one of the random teams that are going to go down is Palace now.
Yeah. Do you know what?
The irony.
Do you know what? You will know within the first 2-3 games of where they're heading, because we've always seen it in the Premier League. Yeah. When a team is there, they start to drop. Yeah, they just can't do nothing about it. They just keep dropping and dropping and dropping. I'm going to ask you, Clive, because Steve put it in the chat. So I might as well ask you now. What 3 do go down for you?
Southampton in 20th.
Right.
Oh. Crystal Palace in 19th. And I'm going to say Bournemouth on goal difference, and we stay up.
I think Forest are a team. This is not my hatred for Forest, by the way. Anyone in the chat, right? I'll be honest. I just want to get their fixtures up from last week.
Well, I've already got them up and what they've got coming up. I mean, they've got Wolves, then Leeds. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I genuinely think, like, imagine they get 6 points here.
Right.
They already have 26.
Yeah.
That's 32. Yeah. Like they're looking pretty good at that point, and that's with like 9-10 games to go, and they're going to be sitting pretty.
See, look at Christian there, yeah? He's just turned around and said this, right? You've seen Forest's fixtures: City, United, Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Now, City, I think that's up. I don't think they've got City. I think they've played City twice, Christian, if I'm honest. I know Liverpool, they played. I know they've got Arsenal coming up.
Even then, right? We want to talk about Big Six, yeah? Let me just go through their Big Six results. Nottingham Forest at home against Liverpool, 1-0 win. Nottingham Forest against Chelsea, home, 1-1 draw. Nottingham Forest against Manchester City at home, 1-1 draw. They have got points against those Big Six, albeit at home. Yeah. And their away form is shocking. And they have faced Man City twice because they lost 6-0 away.
Right, I'm going to read out Forest's fixtures, yeah? April the 1st, they've got Wolves at home, right? That's big, yeah? Then they've got Leeds away. Then they've got Villa away. Then they've got Manchester United at home on the 16th, the same day as we've got Arsenal.
That's
Then
a
they've
big
got
derby for Nottingham Forest as well.
Nottingham Forest and Man United, right? Then they've got Liverpool away. Liverpool will want to revenge that, which could help us because let's be honest, they beat Liverpool 1-0, if I remember rightly. We would really need Liverpool to give this team a good hiding. Yeah, and this team were worse than us away from home, right? Then they've got Brighton at home the following week, Brentford away, Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home is their final game of the season when we play Leeds at home, and then their final game of the season is Crystal Palace away. That is, I think Forest are in trouble because they can't win a game at home now, right? Once they can't win a game at home and they can't win away,
but
then
they've got Wolves who seem to be blowing hot and cold at home on April Fool's Day. Then they've got Leeds away as the iffy one. Villa blow hot and cold. I think I can see them getting points, and again, like teams against Brighton or Brentford, I could see them getting draws, and I don't know what it is, but I just could. And then the fact that they've got Southampton at home, I can see Forest taking that because I think by the 6th of May, I have a weird feeling that Southampton will know whether they're gone or staying up. Because if you listen to the Southampton fixtures, they've obviously got West Ham at home, City away. They got we're at home. Southampton are away to West Ham. Then they're at home to Manchester City. Then they've got Palace at home.
Yeah.
Then they're away to Arsenal. And they've got the Bournemouth game on the 27th of April. Then they've got Newcastle away. Then you know their last 4 fixtures is Forest, Fulham, Brighton, Liverpool. And I've got a weird feeling that if any of the teams are going to go adrift, it is going to be Southampton. And that will be from the moment we face them.
Right, I'm going to read out a few teams' fixtures. Right, so I want everyone to pay attention. All 34 years in the chat, please do hit the like button.
Good luck.
Please do hit the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Right, Crystal Palace away is Leicester's first game when they return. Then they've got Aston Villa at home in a derby game. That's a derby game, that is, massively. Then they've got Bournemouth at home, Manchester City away. Leicester have then got Wolves at home, Leeds away, Everton at home, Fulham away, Liverpool at home, Newcastle away, and their final game is us. So Leicester's fixtures are a bit iffy, to say the least, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
The team, theoretically, with the easiest fixtures on paper, based on positions, is actually Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace are facing every team in the bottom half of the table with the exception of 2 games. Those 2 games are Fulham and Spurs. They don't face either of them until May.
And by that time, Fulham might be on the beach by then, and then Tottenham are just Tottenham, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? Right, I'm going to go for the Southampton because I want to go through Southampton and Bournemouth fixtures all together. Southampton have got us, obviously, on the 2nd. Manchester City at home, Palace at home, Arsenal away, Bournemouth at home, Newcastle away, Nottingham Forest away, Fulham at home, Brighton away, and the last game is Liverpool at home. Their last 2 fixtures, if Brighton are competing for Europe, that's a tough one, massive. Even though it's a derby, that's a tough one. And obviously, Liverpool last game of the season, I think Liverpool won't even care. If I'm being honest, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just looking at everyone else's fixtures, and I'm just thinking to myself, it's a tough one because Bournemouth, for instance, have got 3 of the big 6. We've got. I'm going
to read Bournemouth's out, and then that'll be it. Bournemouth have got Fulham at home, which they've got no Mitrovic now, so that's a big game. That game when they come back is massive. The Fulham one, yeah. Then they've got Brighton, who you've said, which I'm not being funny. The way Brighton have been playing all season, I would expect Brighton to go to Bournemouth and get something out of that game. Don't forget Brighton Arkham. Yeah. Then they've got Leicester away. Leicester battered them last year, but we will see what happens on that. Then they've got Tottenham on the 15th of April, and that is the weekend that we play Arsenal. Tottenham have got them on the Saturday. We've got Arsenal on the Sunday. Then the 23rd is us. 27th is Southampton versus Bournemouth of April. That's massive. Right? If you want a 6-pointer, that is it. Yeah. Then they've got Leeds at home, Chelsea at home, Palace away. Then the 20th of May, they've got Manchester United at home in their final game of the season. And then their final Premier League game of the season is Everton away. So when I look at Bournemouth and Southampton, I think them two will go. I've got a feeling Forest might go, mate. I don't know why. I just have. I look at them and I think they're starting to hit the bumper now. Do you know what I mean? And they can't win the game at present. So obviously, I hope it ain't us. But if West Ham don't pull their finger out, then we're going to be in trouble all the way to the end.
I don't know, because when it comes to Forest, right, at home, they're 5 wins, 5 draws, 4 losses. Away is their issue, which is one win, 3 draws, 9 losses. I mean, they've got the same away performance as we do, but our goal difference is significantly better. But, looking at their fixtures, for instance, they've got how many home games left? They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 home games, but they've got Wolves in that. They've got Brighton in that. They've got Southampton in that, where they could nick points, at least 6 points, if not 7. And then, they'll probably get a draw maybe against Villa, because Villa seem to blow hot and cold, or even maybe against Leeds, because similar playing styles. But I think Forest will escape just about. And I think it's a very, very tough one with them, because obviously they've had a bit of a downward spiral in their form in their last 5 fixtures anyways. But, they've played an informed Fulham away from home, but they drew at home against Manchester City. Then they went away, lost to us. They drew against Everton. They were away from home and didn't look too bad against Spurs. And then they were at home, and it was a close game against Newcastle, in my opinion, anyways, because, they almost got away with a draw if it wasn't for Isak getting that penalty in the 90th minute.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Let's get to some comments. I've got us finishing on 38 points, but with us to get 10 points from the next 5 games. As you said, James, the first week back is massive for us. Totally agree with Ian, 100%. I expect West Ham to get 7 points out of them first 3 games. Right, if we get 6 points, it's okay, but it's I know it's 1 point, but every point counts now. Do you know what I mean? So, when they say about respect the point, I think you can respect the point against the big teams, but not against the teams around us. I do think also that we have to make sure we beat the teams around us. It's no point us getting a draw against Southampton and then beating Newcastle and Fulham. It just makes no sense. We have to beat Southampton.
Yeah, and like I said, I think if you beat Southampton, it already puts them adrift with just 10 games left for them. And I think, well, not even 10. I think they're probably 10 or 9 after they face us. But it's just, I think
Epic's in the house, everyone. Epic. We'll be lucky if we get 2 points. I've got to keep the faith, Epic. I've got to keep the faith.
I think with them, it's a case of I think if they start losing track, the problem is, will their players have enough in their tank when they face teams like Bournemouth? And that's why I could see Bournemouth all of a sudden getting a win against Southampton if Southampton are already looking dead and buried, So it can go so many ways. Yeah,
I agree. I really do. But we will see what happens there. We will round this up, Clive.
Yes.
And say basically, West Ham are not massive now. West Ham are fighting to be in the league. And, it is what it is. Clive, I really appreciate you coming on, mate. And give me your...
No worries. Thank you for having me, as always.
Thursday afternoon / evening. That is it now for E20 for the weekend. We won't be back till Sunday night. We'll be doing an after-hour show on Sunday night. I'm going to get all the lads on. We're going to have a right good laugh, as there's no games over the weekend. Please do smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It goes a long way. Really helps me and the lads out. Hopefully, West Ham will survive. That's one thing I will say. We need to all pull in the same direction now. I hear what everyone's saying about Moyes. I get it. I'm with you. I don't think Moyes should be here. But there is a but here. That week going back, we need to be all in the same, all together. United, basically. West Ham United. We all need to be united as one, and that week needs to be 7 points in that week. If West Ham gets 6, I think it's acceptable. I think anything under 6, I don't think it's good enough, if I'm being honest. right, I think we need to get at least minimum 6 points out of the next 3. If we do, I believe we'll be safe, and then we can concentrate on the conference. And as I've said in this show today, that we need to beat the teams around us. There's no point us going and beating Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, and we lose against Southampton, Bournemouth, and Palace. There's just no point. So,
and also, we need to have hope with the injury situation as well. Like, there's 10 players on international duty this week.
Yeah. I will say
any of them could get injured.
Yeah, I will say one thing on that though. There is no excuses now from West Ham. They're all fit. They're all ready. You've got your starting centre half pairings. Cornet's back, Skamaka's back. They're all fit. They're all firing. They're all ready to go. It's on them now and all. So yeah, we'll leave it at that, people. Hope you have a good weekend, whatever you're doing, and keep the faith. This is West Ham at the end of the day. Peace.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.